Hey everybody, welcome to Crack Pack Tuesday number 64 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and it's time for the final Shadows over Innistrad Crack Pack. Next Tuesday, of course, we will be in set review. We'll be reviewing Eldritch Moon, and the week after that, we'll be opening a fresh new pack of Eldritch Moon. But we're going to open this pack of Shadows and see what we got and what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. Up first, we've got ourselves a Puncturing Light. Puncturing Light, 1 and a white. It destroys target artifact. Target attacking or blocking creature with power 3 or less. It's a fine enough removal spell. It's obviously not going to hit everything. It's going to hit a subset of creatures, which is still, the big stuff that's going to be coming at you at least early game. It's totally fine. It's not really first pickable in most packs. I would feel terrible if I had a pack where this was actually first pickable. But it's usually playable, at least the first one is anyways. So Puncturing Light, not our first pick. Up next, we've got ourselves a Silent Observer, 3 and a blue for a 1/5 flying spirit. It's a good blocker. It definitely kind of fits in the blue decks that want to go a little bit long, blue-black, blue-white, anything like that. It's an amazing blocker, just blocks everything, but it doesn't do much else beyond that, so it's not really the first pick. It's not the card that you jump in on and say, aha, I'm this deck now. It's the card that you pick up a little bit later when you know you're that deck already or have some other reason, so not a first pick. Up next, we've got Inspiring Captain, 3 and a white for a Human Knight, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Pretty good in a wide kind of aggressive deck, with this being, getting close to the top of your curve. Red-white, this does quite well in. Anything that produces a bunch of tokens as well, spirit tokens, things like that, but never a first pick. Up next, we've got Stallion of Ashmouth, 3 and a black for a 3/3, a Nightmare Horse. It's got Delirium. Pay 1 and a black if you have Delirium, and give it +1/+1 till end of turn. Another fine creature that you can play, and you're never going to feel sad about playing it, but it's also not something you're jumping in on. It's not first pickable ever. Up next, we have a Stromkirk Mentor, 4/2 for a Vampire Soldier. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target other vampire you control. This guy just never really did much work. Absolutely, sometimes I saw counters come down, but he dies so readily, he gets no value if there's not another vampire down. Just not very good in general, and certainly not a first pick. Up next, we have Tormenting Voice, 1 and a red for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Tormenting Voice, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Obviously, this works best in a Madness deck, where you can discard your Fiery Temper, cast it anyways, and then still draw 2 cards. But this is something that you can pick up pretty late in the packs. You should never really be spending a pick on this. It should be something that you just get. Up next, we have Root Out. 2 and a green for a sorcery, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Pure sideboard card. You never, ever, 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 ever should be main decking this, and you should never be spending a pick on it. If you're in green, this should be pretty near the end of the pack, and you can pick it up for, virtually free in the draft. Root Out, not a first pick. Up next, not our last common, is Rotten Heart Ghoul, 3 and a black for a 2/4 zombie. When it dies, target player discards a card. Also not very good. This pack is not looking great. This guy just doesn't do anything. He blocks kind of okay, but the discard's neither here nor there. You never really want to target your opponent with it. You can only really target yourself or want to if you have a Madness card, but you don't exactly get to control when this guy dies. It just never, ever really works out properly. So, Rotten Heart Ghoul, never really playable, certainly not first pickable. Now we have our last common, Reduced to Ashes, 4 and a red for a sorcery, deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Not a good card. This costs so much mana, and it's sorcery speed, and it doesn't hit players. It's just not a good piece of burn, and I would feel really bad if we had to first pick it. It is unfortunately currently our first pick, I think. I think it is probably ever so slightly better than Puncturing Light, although Puncturing Light might be a little bit better. But realistically, there's no pack in existence where we're first picking a Reduced to Ashes. It's just not very good. Not at all. So, Reduced to Ashes, not even going to keep it in frame. Our first uncommon is Geese's Bidding. Geese's Bidding's 2 black to put 2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, and you can, of course, madness it. For 2 and a black, you get to cut off one of those black mana symbols. Now, this is a good card. Getting 2 zombies, 2/2/2 zombies for 4 mana, or even 3 mana is fantastic. Solid value, totally useful, helps you go wide. Geese's Bidding's just a really, really good card, and it is first pickable. We'd prefer something a little bit more bomby, but it's certainly first pickable. Our next uncommon goes the other way to the stone unpickable column. Humble the Root, 4 and a white for an instant, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, and investigate. This is just not very good. Smite the Monstrous, which this is minus the investigate, is generally just a sideboard card. There's so few formats where you would ever consider main decking it, and this is certainly not a format where you're going to ever main deck a Humble the Brute. Maybe you can pull it in out of the board, but even that I wouldn't really recommend. So Humble the Brute, certainly not a first pick. Our final uncommon is Crawling Sensation, 2 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 green insect creature token onto the battlefield. I know some people have gotten a little bit higher on this towards the end of the format. I never did. I still really don't care for this card. The milling helps you get Delirium going, and obviously it helps you if you're in that kind of weird Epitaph Golem deck. But I've just never really found the payoff of getting a 1/1 to be all that good. And the fact that it's worded in the way that it is means that you can't get any extra 1/1s. You don't get 2 if you mill 2 lands. You don't get 2 if you mill a land and then later in the turn sack a land. It's the first time each turn, so you're only ever going to get 1/1/1. And so I've never really cared for Crawling Sensation. I would never consider first picking it. Our rare is Anguished Unmaking. 1 white-black for an instant. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. Pretty solid card. I generally have avoided first picking it just because I don't want to jump right into white-black right for my first card. But it is unconditional removal with the minor condition of you must have at least 4 life. But if you don't, you're already in pretty bad shape anyways. But yeah, it's a solid piece of removal, and I would be, not unhappy first picking it. I would prefer a monocolored card first pick, but it can stay in the frame because what else have we had in this pack? Our final card is our flip card, Daring Sleuth. 1 and a blue for a creature human rogue. It's a 2/1. When you sack a clue, transform Daring Sleuth. It turns into Bearer of Overwhelming Truths. It's a 3/2 with prowess, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get to investigate. It's an okay card. It's a 2/1 for 2, which is never really that great. If you sack a clue, which you're probably going to do in blue, becomes a 3/2, which is a little bit better with prowess, which is generally neither here nor there in limited. But if it can get through, you can start investigating more, which is not too shabby. It's probably in the first pick column, although I'm going to eliminate it basically right away. Really, I think we're taking a look at Anguished Unmaking or Geese's Bidding. And I think Anguished Unmaking is just on such a different power level than Geese's Bidding that we're going to have to go with that. Yeah, we're taking a 2-color card first pick, which isn't generally ideal unless it's a just, broken bomb. And this is not a broken bomb. It's just a fantastic piece of removal. But I'm not too upset first picking it. So that's going to wrap up our final Shadows of Innistrad Crack-A-Pack. It was equally unsatisfying and unexciting as many of our packs this set. This set has been weird. There's a lot of cards that just aren't good in a lot of packs, and so you do end up with a ton of packs that are just flat out dead, where you have to make really bad decisions and you hope that your rare saves you. If this rare was Corrupted Graphstone or something, we literally would have been choosing between Geese's Bidding, Puncturing Light, Reduced to Ashes. It would have been one of the worst packs ever. I'll be happy to not be opening packs like these anymore. I'm hoping that Eldritch Moon is maybe slightly flatter power level where, we have some interesting first picks to discuss. But let me know what you would have taken out of this pack. Would you have taken the Unmaking, the Bidding, the Sleuth? Do you really like Crawling Sensation? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as in the poll in the top right-hand corner. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at The Mana Leek. That's Leek, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at facebook.com/TheManaLeek and twitch.tv/TheManaLeek. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got that comment section down below. Please make use of it. click that thumbs up icon and the subscribe button if you enjoy what you're watching and want to see more. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.